of Secunderabad West to help you to achieve the dream careers. This program, this program connects youth with industry leaders and academic experts to give us the right guidance and advice. Friends, the world is changing rapidly and technology is making things faster and easier, and different careers of the past are no more relevant in the future. So, what are the careers which will be relevant in the future? What skills we have to acquire? And what is the courses we have to do for a successful career? We all have so many doubts and questions. So, Dr. Sushi will speak on career awareness and study habits for great success. EmergeX was started on 5th July of 2020 with a spectrum of leading speakers from the top industries like Google, Facebook, TCS, Pepsi, Hitachi, and Mahindra. The second version of EmergeX was held on 1st August on two topics, the first one being robotics and automation, and the second one art and science of PowerPoint presentation. The third version was held on 5th September on two topics, the first one being unlocking power of social media and the second one writing a resume no one can reject. The fourth version of EmergeX was conducted on 3rd October on the topic India is innovating. Are you? By Dr. Sada Gopal, the director of Triple IT Bangalore. The fifth version was conducted on 7 November on the topic Decoding Artificial Intelligence by Sameer, who is a global leader in AI. The sixth version of EmergeX was by the same speaker, conducted for our senior students in the classes 10, 11, and 12. And today, we are the seventh version of EmergeX, looking forward for a great session by Dr. Sushi. Hope you all enjoy. And we request everyone to be very attentive and actively participate in the program so that we can get the best out of the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashrita, for the welcome address. Now I'm really excited, and even I'm also looking forward for this great seminar.
Well, now let us get to know a little about our esteemed guest, Dr. Sushi, and I request Sai Jashwin to give a brief introduction about the speaker.
Thank you, everyone. Dr. Sushi Madhira is a multidisciplinary expert who is passionate about shaping education in India and many other countries. Having graduated from BETS Pilani, yes guys, she graduated from BETS Pilani with a dual degree in chemistry and the computer science, and she went on to pursue PhD in bio-nanotechnology from Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich. Yes, you heard it right. Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich, a 548-year-old. Oof, it's a very old one, but one of the in Germany. After returning to India, she started with helping out in education sector and career coaching. Her expertise also include providing customized online classes, support to students in various countries such as in India and US, and with working with multiple subjects and with other education institutions, startup, and develop courses on content development, personality development, soft skills training with several schools, colleges, and non-profit organizations. She also certified career counselor and works as a data science consultant. We look forward for a wonderful practical session from Dr. Sushi ma'am on building new age careers. Ma'am, we are very pleased and highly honored with your presence. Over to Sushi ma'am now.
Thank you, Joshua. That was really short and precise, but very, very impressive. Impressive profile of the speaker. Friends, we are very lucky to have Dr. Sushi speaking and interacting with us. Let us make the best of this program to help plan our career and further education.
So without wasting any further time, I would request Dr. Sushi to start, and I sincerely hope that we are all immensely benefited from your talk. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, before you start, ma'am, I'm going to mute all. So you please unmute yourself and speak so that others cannot unmute themselves during the program, so that you can conduct it very smoothly. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much, Suhani, Jasmine, and Jaswant, for that wonderful introduction. Special thanks to Rotary Club and Sister Nivedita School for having me over here again. I'm glad that all of you loved my previous workshop and my previous seminar, and you have invited me again. It's a huge privilege and an honor to be here addressing all of you again. So, like you have all been told, I previously spoke to higher class students of Sister Nivedita School as a part of the EmergeX. And today I think we have students from 7th, 8th, and ninth grade. Now, of course, what I'm going to talk about today is to lot to do with the career guidance and the steps which you need to take for better learning, which is going to lead to your success in your life. The idea that I would want to start off with for most of you is that life is, it's not a smooth road. And often you will have these small obstacles that you will find in life, which will force you to take a different path, which will force you to change things. Now, the idea is you can either look at a obstacle as something which is like a huge problem, or you could look at obstacles as opportunities to learn something new. So this is why in my the first screen that I'm showing you here is about the popular game that we have all played as children, right? Snakes and ladders. So if you remember correctly, even if you're gobbled up by a snake, it doesn't really mean game over, correct? It's like you roll the dice again and you go on forward until you find a ladder and you climb up to your success. So that's how exactly life is. Often we face obstacles. Let's say perhaps in the form of COVID, that we had to learn a lot. We've had the lockdown, things changed a lot for all of us. We've had to change our regular daily schedule, things that we took for granted, we couldn't do it. And the world in the last 9 months, since March to December, it has changed so rapidly for all of us. It's a huge amount of change, not only for the students but also for adults like us, professionals, and even like all the great personalities in the world. So that was one of the things which taught us all that COVID was an equalizer for all of us. But of course, COVID, lockdown, and everything brought with itself its own set of challenges for each one of us. Now the idea is whether we are able to learn from that, whether we are able to adapt ourselves to those challenges, and whether we are able to forge ahead. So that's what I'm going to talk to you first to you about. And of course, later part of my talk will be more about career guidance. What does career mean to us? Is it just the education part which makes up your career, like only the studies, or are there other things to career also which are out there? And of course, the most important burning question for a lot of us is that, to say that, okay, I'm confused. Like, I don't know what are the career options out there. How do I choose? So I'll also be talking about that with all of you. Like what are the steps to be taken? And we're going to then sum it up something to your own level. So what are the major decision making steps that you need to take at a very young age, like at 7th, 8th, and ninth? At this moment, you don't have to really decide about your careers, but I would like you to explore the options. So these are the various things I'm going to talk about today. So let's start off, first steps first. Dilemma of students. Like I said before, things have been thrown haywire by the COVID. And of course, we're all in a stage wherein like we all want normalcy, right? We all want to go back to school, meet, our friends, sit in the classroom, and then on top of that, everybody is telling you to, study. The online learning came into being, and we have been motivated to study. We have to sit in front of the screen. It's been very difficult for us. Then there is all this new age, methods of examination and all. Everything has been, shifted to online. Then, it's parents telling you it's time for you to get serious in your studies. And, you're all confused because there are so many choices out there. Should I listen to this person? Should I listen to that person? Should I listen to my heart? What am I supposed to do? Are marks important? Are my extracurriculars important? So there's a huge amount of dilemma and we completely understand this. So first step, what you have to do is please give yourself a big hug. Last 9 months have been stressful for all of us. The first step is to accept that we have been through a stressful time, and it has been a lot of change, not only for you, but for all of us out there. And it's very, very important to accept this fact and, give yourself a pat on the back and say that now I'm going to forge ahead. I'm going to find my path for myself. Now, coming to a short thing that I want to tackle here, which is very important, whether you're a student at any phase of your life, it's very, very important for us that, the question which arose was, how do I study with all this COVID-19 stress? This online learning, how am I supposed to adapt myself to it? So, underlying point, students, very, very important. Please always look after your well-being. You got this. You've been doing your studies. It's been a very, very different, but I'm also going to talk about how to make the best out of this particular challenge. So coming to very easy steps. Now, again, this is not just for students, but also for a lot of professionals, adults also follow these steps, especially because everything for us shifted online. So these are certain pointers which will not only stay with you, as a student, but also further down in your life, when you go to a job and when you're going for higher studies. These are certain tips and tricks to be kept in mind when you're dealing with like online learning, because now in the future online learning is going to be an integral part of our lives. It's not going to go away so soon. So even if you go back to the school, there will be different other courses that you might have to take up online later on in life. So this is something which is very important for us. It's better to get used to it, better to develop the discipline and the focus which is required for this. The step number 1 is please set up your study space. It's always good to have a separate area where you can sit comfortably and focus only on your studies. Okay, and this should be made separate from your relaxation space, especially that there is no TV or any other distractions. You shouldn't be doing that when you're sitting for your online classes. Very, very important. An example of a study space, for example, in my house, when I have to work from home, this is the sort of setup I have. I have my table wherein I put my laptop. I have my board in behind where I can scribble things. And every time I sit here to attend a class or to give a class, I always keep a notebook handy with me, and I'm like always jotting down the points, which is very, very important. Which of course brings me to step 2. Take down notes. Now, students, very important. Nobody in this world, even if you're a genius, can you remember each and every word which has been said in the class to you. Okay, taking down notes, 2 advantages. First things, you will have all the information with you, so that even if you forget about something, it's written down there in front of you. You can easily quickly go back and recapitulate. You can revise whatever has been taught if you take down notes. Second point, a lot of times in online class, because we are just sitting there and listening to somebody, we tend to zone out. We tend to doze off, we tend to fall asleep. Why? Because we are not really interacting, right? We are just only listening. So what does taking down notes do? It keeps your mind engaged. It keeps you fresh. And when you're writing down, you also will tend to remember things better. So in this manner, what helps? It also helps in point number 3, which is when you go back and revise, you're able to remember things much more quicker. Very important. And this is not only done by students, it's also done by some of the most, powerful personalities, CEOs out there, most successful people, they tend to sit down even in a meeting, they will sit down and, they're going to quickly take down notes. Very important. Secondly, please remember here, even though we have shifted to the online mode of learning, do not forget your writing skill. Because when you go back, even for the future, you will have to face examinations where you have to write things down. So please focus, or please, practice your writing. Practice answer writing is what I would like to say. So it is here to stay. You may have online exams, but you should not forget how to write. That's very, very important. Next thing, plan your day ahead. Now, this is something which is very simple, but it's very, very potent. It's a very powerful thing to do, is plan ahead. Now, What happened before we had COVID was you all had a structure in your life, because the timetable for the day and the date, everything was set up with the school, right? But now, how are you going to organize yourself? Even if you have online classes for a particular part of the day, the rest of the day you need to organize yourself. It's not like because you're sitting at home you're going to spend time on online gaming or forever watching TV, because at the end of the day you have to finish your assignments, you have to go back and study again, and you definitely will be facing examinations. So it's always better to plan your day ahead. That gives you precisely, I would recommend, the smart way to work always is finish up your homeworks and tasks and then go ahead and have fun. That way nobody will be bothering you and always nagging you behind that you didn't do your homework or you still have your assignments left. That's the sharpest and the quickest way to manage time. This is very essential thing that you will learn today, and this is going to stay with you for the rest of your life. So very, very important, plan your day ahead. Very important. Next thing, decrease distractions. Now, this is very, very important, students, that that you decrease distractions. When we are sitting at home and studying, what happens often number of times is that we are here, but there's a phone ringing there, and that you're missing your class. What you can often do is you can sit there and imagine that you're sitting in the class with your friends so that you don't miss them so much. Please lock your phones away. And like I said before, planning always helps you to decrease distractions. Why? Because you know exactly how much amount of time is there. You can set your goals that you would like for this particular semester, and you can be more productive and focused in your studying. And discipline is one important thing that you definitely have to inculcate. Discipline, I would like to mention again, is the foundation of success. No matter what you do tomorrow in your life, no matter what career path you choose for yourself, if you are disciplined, you're focused, you will achieve what you want to achieve. So this is very, very important. Again, the next thing. Now, amidst all of this, I would again want to bring back to your focus to one part, that this is what we all do, right? We are not taking care of our posture or of our eyes. At this moment, when in your you're young, you're like 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, it doesn't make much of a difference to you, in which posture you're sitting, how you're handling your machine, you're lying down, or you're sitting on your side and you're trying to you think that you're learning online. Remember, whenever you want to learn something, it's best to sit in a proper posture. Maybe have a chair which gives you the proper posture, and please take care of your eyes. What we are doing right nowadays is we're spending a huge amount of time staring at screens, whether it's online learning, or you go ahead to play games, which again is online, or you're going ahead and like for recreation and entertainment, which is again TV, which is again looking at a screen. What this does to you, you will not see the effects now, but maybe 5 or 10 years down the line you will understand the huge health effects that this particular thing has. So a lot of students in shifting to online learning, they have complaints that they have a headache or pain in the eyes. So this is something that we have to be very careful about. So because shifting learning has shifted to online and we are spending a lot of time, the first things, reduce the time that you want to spend on your gadget. Only do the very, very important thing. Okay. And please also take out time for yourself. This is very, very important. Why do I say that? You need also time to unwind. Now, often what happens is when I ask students to relax, you just get up from your in front of your laptop, go and sit in front of the TV, right? So, and we imagine that because we're watching some entertaining movie or the TV, that we are relaxing. On the contrary, what's happening is even though you're sitting in front of your TV, your senses, your eyes, ears, is taking in all the information, which really is not allowing your brain, your mind actually to relax. So that's not the proper way of unwinding. Same goes again, word of caution here, same thing goes for online games. If you're somebody who spends a lot of time playing online games, I must tell you that, a lot of students at this age particularly get addicted to it. But again, it has a long term, health effects which are there, which are not nice. So please take care of that. And also, being so much sticking yourself to the screen all the time is not going to help us out. So we need to take our time to unwind. What do I mean by unwinding is spend time probably doing nothing, or maybe just take a walk outside, be with nature, go, try out yoga, meditation, or just spend time with your family. There should be no gadgets involved. Just spend time talking to each other. That's the best part or the best way of unwinding. And there are immense amount of benefits that you are going to personally experience for yourself. Now, another thing, whenever I am talking about all these things, you don't really have to follow it per se because, ma'am told us. Always be an experimenter, be a scientist. Why don't you try it out, what I'm suggesting, and see for yourself if there are benefits out there or not, compared to how you have been doing things before. And I can assure you that within a week or two, you will see the immense amount of benefits that you will get out of it. And especially in a long term, this is something which will help you, go further and further and achieve your goals. So all these things are very, very important. Next thing, another most important thing that we have realized is our connection with others. Whatever your thoughts are, whatever you're feeling, if you're confused about things, if because we're not able to meet a lot of people now, things have changed. Of course, everybody is stepping outside. It's very, very important to connect with other people, to share whatever we are feeling, to talk about different things, and always, speak up and ask for help. A lot of times I've seen students that they're scared of being, made fun of in the class, or you're scared of, teachers scolding you. On the contrary, I want to say that, when things get tough, you will realize that when you speak up, that it's not only you, but also other people around you who are actually facing similar problems. So it's always a good thing to actually, just ask, or talk to people around you. Don't be scared, nobody's going to make fun of you. So it's good always, if you're finding something tough, to speak to people that you trust. It may be your parents or your teachers or your classmates or your friends. Always speak up and ask for help, whatever it is bothering you. It may not be a small thing, it may be a small thing, but nevertheless, sharing it with others, letting it out is always helpful. Next, again, this is another very, very important thing which is undermined by a lot of people because they think it's a very simple thing, but it is not. Writing things down, whatever thoughts that you get at the end of the day, sit there with a diary or a journal and write them all down. Whatever you're feeling, either you can draw something, sort of give shape to your thoughts. Anything which comes to you, let it out. This is one of the ways in which you can foster the creativity inside of you. Putting things down, drawing things, giving your shape to your ideas, this is very, very important. Again, long term benefits, and this is something that a lot of visionaries do, right? A lot of great personalities, who people you think that you have, oh, they have great vision, all of them do such things. These are which are very, very simple things that I'm talking about. Next, lastly, I would just want to wrap up this section, and I want to tell you that a lot of people complain, a lot of students complain to me that ma'am, there's no use of this remote learning. There's nothing we learn out of it. But that's the wrong way of looking at it, right? Because even through remote learning, we have had a lot of lifelong skills that it has provided us. Like what? We have learned how to manage our time. We have learned how to manage our energy because we need to get going for throughout the day. Then it has made a lot of us independent, right? Because you're no more in the classroom, you're working on your own, you're studying on your own. Then there is a lot of creative thinking because we're using a lot of technology, right? We're coming up with creative solutions to things. We know we have a lot of tech know-how. Your generation is probably one of the, I would say in this manner, you're technologically very, very blessed, because from a young age you have been able to use so much of technology, and now you know how to use it even in the future, if it becomes because it's a part of the future. So these are all the important things that we have, and especially I would say you students have learned from remote learning, and these skills are going to stay with you for the rest of your life, and these are always going to be helpful for you in the future. Yeah. The next one that I would like to talk about is uh, coming to the main section, the main idea of the talk today. So, understanding what exactly is career. So, right now in front of you, you see that these are all the different things that I have mentioned with respect to the career. Now, a lot of times, what we think is education is going to determine your career, which is not completely correct, not completely wrong. So, the career as such is composed of various other components. So, you have your skills, it is determined by your motivations and interest, what is your ability and attitude, what are the sort of skills you are picking up on the way. Of course, it's determined, the foundation is laid by your education, but also what are the sort of goals you set for yourself and what is your vision for yourself. Like, what is it that you would like to achieve for yourself? So, all of these things are a part of your career, is what forms your career. Students, very important. Career is not like a ladder that you're climbing, it's more like a journey that you undertake. And when you go on a journey, let's say you go on a bus ride or a car ride, when you go, what happens? In front of you, whenever you reach a crossroad, what do? You decide whether you want to go left or right or straight. And that's exactly what planning for a career or decision making for a career looks like. Okay, and the question is now, how do I decide which way to go? So basically, that has something to do with two main important things here. Please keep that in mind. First thing, your motivation and interest. Second thing, your ability and aptitude. These are the two main important deciding factors for your direction that you want to give to your life on the way. And as you go on the way, whichever direction you go to, you sort of pick up skills on the way, okay, which further is going to enhance or boost your career or your growth or success. And eventually it's going to lead to you along the way, you're going to fulfill many of your goals and dreams, and perhaps probably reach your vision. So that is the story behind the career. So I hope I have been able to make you understand in very simple words here. So now coming to what is the some of the common misconceptions. Now this is something I feel is very important to be addressed over here, because a lot of things maybe 10-15 years ago might have been true, but they don't hold true anymore, especially in the last decade, 2010 to 2020. The careers as such and the jobs in the market have changed so rapidly, so fast. They have changed that new and new career options are coming up. It's no more the same thing. So these, what I'm addressing here, are the misconceptions, which means they're not true. So that's why I want to address them. First things, engineering and medical are the best career options. It is no more so. Like I said, in the past 10 years, especially since 2015, the past 5 years, a lot more career options have come forth. We are going to discuss those briefly, just so as to introduce you to them. I just want you to introduce you to the new career options out there. I'm not going to go into the details because that gets too confusing at this stage. Secondly, people will tell that, okay, your major in college will determine your career, which means what? Let's say you end up doing mechanical engineer, so you have to stay in mechanical engineering for the rest of your life. It is not so, students. So, like I said, at each and every junction that you reach in your career, you get to decide which particular direction to go through. And now, more than ever, you have a chance to, reroute, the way they say in Google Maps, rerouting yourself. That is something you can do now because you have a lot of options. So, it's very important that you sort of get to know or be informed about all of these options. Next one, you will get success if you follow successful people. People will tell you, if you follow successful people, you're sure to get success. Or if you study in, let's say, IIT, IIM, you are definitely going to be successful. Or if you study abroad, oh yeah, pakka you'll be successful. Okay. Or like, if you, no, you should not take offbeat careers because then you won't be successful. All of these things are not correct. The very, very important thing for us to understand is career is our own journey, right? It's a journey, but it is specific to the person. So, the most important secret ingredient in the success of our career is I, me, myself. right? So just because we follow in the footsteps of a successful person doesn't mean that with 100% guarantee that we become successful. Why? Because we need to first of all understand who we are. Who is this I? What am I? What am I like? Who am I? So what does that mean? I'm not talking about what your name is and all that. I'm going to discuss it further. Okay. Lastly, again, if you can't find a job, a lot of people might tell you, oh, just start your own business. You don't have, no problem, sir. You don't find a job, start your own business. Again, student, entrepreneurship is again something that might not be suitable to everybody. So again, in all of these, I want to address a very important thing, that to tell you that whatever you choose it on the basis of you yourself, because you are the secret ingredient. So this is very, very important to be understood here. Again, after that secret ingredient, beyond that, again, we still have confusion, right? Now you will be like, but ma'am, I have so many options in front of me. How am I ever going to decide which one to choose? And the question is again, okay, those were misconceptions, but how do I decide? Generally, what people do is we either look in the past, like, right? We look at our parents' experience, or maybe somebody has like a successful relative, or people around us are following these things, so we should go for it. Or we look at like present scenario, what is the market trend, this, if I take this up, I'm going to get paid more, this is going to assure me, like, definitely if I choose this, if I become a civil servant, IAS, I'm sure to get status and success. Should I choose things based on that? Or should I look into future, that these are the new age careers out there? Right now I'm in school, let's say I'm in 7th grade or 8th grade or 9th grade, and let's say 4-5 years down the line, when I write my 12th exams, these are the streams in front of me, those will be the careers for the future. So I'm already, you're planning like 10 years from before. Now, which of these routes is the correct one? That's the question. Now, here again, I want to tell you the same thing. Choosing or putting everything on one thing may not be right, because again, we are missing here the main important point, is that the secret ingredient in your career is you yourself. So first of all, we should probably be starting over there, instead of looking at all these things, or being, sideways because of the, popular misconceptions which are out there. So what should we remember? We should remember that we are unique. You children, each one of you is unique and different, and you have your own unique set of talents. It's very, very important that you be yourself and you stay yourself. Do not try to become like somebody else, but in the way, understand who you are. Okay, now the question is, okay, ma'am, how do I understand? My name is so and so, and my parents is so and so, but what is there to understand about myself? When I say understand yourself, I mean identifying who you are, which means what are you? What are you consists of what you like, what you dislike, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what is your aptitude. Aptitude is what are the things that you're good at, correct? Okay, what are your traits? What are your behavior traits? How is your personality like? What are your aspirations? Maybe you have certain goals and dreams. All these multiple things is who you are. So identifying that is the first step that you're going to take. So from now, I'm listing out the steps that you need to take in order to determine like what particular thing you should go for. Okay, like sort of like shortlisting or narrowing down your options for the career. So step one, identify who you are, because who you are is very, very different from who your friend is or somebody else around you is. So this is very, very important. So identifying means likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, what are the skills I have. All of these are very, very important. Next step. Step two, identify your interest and aptitude. Now, if you remember, interest and aptitude were also the things I said are related to a career, right? Now, why am I saying all the time interest and aptitude, interest and aptitude? This was also an important part of who you are. So why is that important? Now, let us look at, some graphs in front of us. We have these three, let's say, career paths or subjects in front of you. Okay. Let's say if I want to choose subject one, I have high amount of interest for it, but less aptitude for it. Interest means, am I passionate about that subject? Do I like that subject or that stream a lot? That is my interest in it. Aptitude is if I'm able to apply my head towards it or not, if I'm able to solve the problems, if I'm able to understand it well or not. Now, in the first subject, which is here given by the violet lines, what do I have? I have a high interest, I have a low aptitude. What happens? I love that subject, I love that career path, but the problem is I'm not so good at it. So, do you think, will I become successful in it? Maybe because I love it so much, I might push myself all the time, but I will have to work much, much more harder to achieve even the basic success in there. That's how things work. Okay, let's look at now option number 2, the gray bars. What do I have here? My interest is low, but my aptitude is high. What does that imply? That I'm not so much interested in this subject or in this career option, but I have the brains for it. Means I don't have the interest, but I am really good at these things. Now, the problem with the second one is that because I'm not interested in it, I really have to again push myself very, very hard in order to, even cover the basic level. Because every time, what will happen, every time I will encounter a small problem in this particular field, I'm going to drop things immediately because I'm like, oh, I don't like it. That's what we all do, right? As soon as we encounter something, even a small bit difficulty, we'll be like, no, 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 this is not for me. That's what we tend to do. Okay, now let's look at option number 3. Interest is high and aptitude is also high. Now, what happens? Now, this is sort of like the perfect combination for us, right? How? We love this particular subject or stream and we are also very, very good at it. Now, what happens when both these things match for us? That we are going to push ourselves to do better and we want to push ourselves, the inner motivation which comes, not because, somebody is holding a danda to your head and saying that you have to do this, but we have the inner motivation because we have the interest in it. We really want to do it. Nobody has to force me to do it. I am motivated, I'm passionate about it, so I'm going to put my sweat, blood, everything into it. I'm ready to do that. So that is what will push you towards success very, very easily. And also I'm very good at it, so it's easy for me to achieve whatever my goals in this particular field are. So that is the perfect combination for all of us. So step 2, that's why I said, if you identify your interest and aptitude, it's very easy to narrow down your options for yourself. So this is one of the interesting things. Now the question, of course, is, okay, how do I know what my interest and aptitude are? Probably some of you already know, or some of you, might be talking to the people around you. Maybe your parents have pointed out to you. But often what happens is because of things that we have heard, there's a subjective view to it, right? That we don't know about all the options out there. So in the limited knowledge we have, we think this is where our interest is and this is where our aptitude is. So in this particular case, what is often very, plays a strong role is to have an objective view of it. Objective is when you're not biased towards anything. Maybe, your parents may be a bit biased and like, no, this is not good for you. You take this. This is what you're interested in. Or maybe you yourself feel that way, that no, I am interested in. But maybe you're actually not, and maybe you're better at something else. So why lose an opportunity? So that's why for a very objective view of things, you have something called as a psychometric test. So what happens, like for example, here in front of you, you have a psychometric test on the best suited stream. Let's say for you in class 11th, which stream to choose, that's a psychometric test about it. So what does the test do? It presents you with a series of questions which you're going to answer. And then the test will very objectively decide your score. It is going to give your aptitude and interest for the various fields. And like you can see here, for the particular student who took the test, commerce might be the best for that person because aptitude and interest are very, very high. So that's the idea of a psychometric test. Again, here the role of somebody in the objective testing, a role of a career counselor, I also want to bring out, is sometimes very important, because career counselors can also present to you much more options in front of you, so that you can determine your interest and aptitude, and very objectively they can do the assessment for you. So that's the importance of psychometric tests. Then step 3, always explore career paths with the focus on skills. Now again, students, you are at an age, you're quite young to be deciding and saying, this is exactly what I want. I don't want you to do that. So my earnest request to all of you is to explore as many career paths as there out there. Just get to know, talk to people around you, about, what is the career path you have chosen, how did you choose it, and how did you get to become what you are right now. Or you can, even read up about famous personalities, and you will see that in all of them, the common thing is they never started off trying wanting to become what they became. Okay, they started off somewhere else, then along the way they change their path and they go somewhere else, they pick up like education and other skills along the way, and that is when eventually they may end up somewhere else. So again, career is like a journey, so always try and focus on what particular skills I need to acquire on the way, which is very, very important. Why do I talk about skills and not education? Is here skill means something like, let's say, your creativity or problem solving. These are your skills. Communication, these are the skills. The idea of skill is, you, when it's well developed, you can apply it in whatever field you want. That's the idea of a skill, right? If I'm good at something, let's say, all your competitors there today, they're very good in talking and communication, which implies that tomorrow, if I put them, whether I put them in front of a stage or whether I ask them to present give a presentation or talk in a webinar, all of you would be able to do well if you have good communication skills. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean that you're going to become a teacher or you're going to become, just to stay as a computer. You could become a lawyer, you could become a leader. All of these multiple professions have that skill of communication as a common thing. So that's why I would like you to focus on skills. Step 4. This is again one of the very important, interesting concepts from the West is you do job shadowing. So sometimes just talking to people about what careers you do and why you made this choice is not enough. Why? What happens? What happens when somebody asks you, how is your studies going on? Maybe you might present only the positive aspect of the things which are going on, or maybe if you're angry with something, you will only present the negative aspects. But the idea of decision making always is to know both the pros as well as the cons. So always get to know both the sides of the things before you decide. So this concept of job shadowing is, you can check online, you can talk with people. So that's what the girl on the left side did. And once she had, zeroed down upon, let's say, 6 different careers that she's interested in, she went and followed around a person for an entire day. So that's like a shadow, you follow the person around. So sort of you go through their entire work schedule for one day. So if you follow it around, you'll get to know. There are always students, even when a subject is your favorite, there are always aspects of the subject that you might not like, right? That you might find tough. But the idea is, even with having something tough or some things you are not liking, if it is still your favorite, then yes, it is truly your favorite. Correct? So it's the same thing with deciding on a career or a job. It's not only the good things you should like about it, even the bad things you should be able to handle in it. Like the cons, it needn't be the bad, but like things that you maybe personally we might dislike about it, but that we should be learning to handle. Because in life we will not always be given only the pros of a certain thing. We also have to learn to deal with the cons of the thing. So that is the idea behind job shadowing, following the person around and getting to have a better clarity about it. Then step 5, students, I want you to build your profile. This is very, very important step. What is happening in building profile? Profile means basically it's an extension of who you are. On the paper, you might all be belonging to class, let's say you all belong to class 7 or 8 or 9. So on the paper, you're like that. But like I said, each of you is individually different and unique, which means if, let's say, I want to interview all of you to choose one of you, I would be more interested in what your profile is, right? Means what are the extension, what are you doing just beyond your studies is what I would be interested in, because that tells me or speaks volumes about your personality, about the sort of person that you are. And this is particularly important when you go out to work tomorrow, when you're applying for a job or an internship. People will look at your profile. Okay, and a part of it is not suddenly done, like, tomorrow I have to go for interview. It doesn't mean today I'm going to sit and build profile. Building profile is a long process that you do over multiple years. So how do we do that? So volunteer, volunteering with organizations, working with non-profit organizations, getting involved with charity organizations is very, very important. What does it teach you? It teaches you communication. You're going to talk with people. It develops your organizational skills. You will know how to organize things, how to move things around. These are very important skills for future when you go out to do a job. Next, you can always blog, write, or design something, foster your creative side too, which is a very important thing. So, studies is not the whole and soul, the other things around you, the peripheral things, your extracurricular activities, your hobbies, all of these are very, very important. Next, go for summer internships. Now, this year, of course, it was very difficult for us to intern, but you can always even apply for internships abroad. Sorry, not abroad. You can always apply for internships elsewhere. And even if internship feels like a big thing to you, what I suggest to a lot of students in school is that probably you can ask your parents. Maybe you could probably help them with a small part of their project in the office. Maybe you could make a small presentation for them or a small Excel sheet for them, which is useful, because that ways you will also get to get handy in using the different tools that you have at home. Or probably you want to help prepare something. All of these are very, very important. This sort of getting this hands-on experience. This is called hands-on experience. Means you're directly interacting and doing the things, and therefore you are learning. So that's the best way of learning possible. So for example, if I want you to learn PowerPoint, I'm not going to enroll you into a PowerPoint presentation class, but I would rather you do an internship or a small project for somebody wherein you learn along the way how to make a PowerPoint presentation. So that's the idea behind it. Then work on your soft skills. Soft skills like communication, creativity, adaptability, conflict management, all of these are very, very important. And then, of course, the most important I'll tell you is competitions, taking part in debates, competitions, Olympiads, as much as possible. See, students, the idea of, participating is not that my focus is that, you have to win. And if you don't win, you're worth nothing, nothing of that sort. The idea is when you participate, it's sort of like you learn something. You learn about success, you learn about failure, which is again very, very important learnings in life, which you're not just going to learn from your studies part. You will understand the importance of it much later. Secondly, when you're taking part in debates, you're going to get over your stage fear. All of these little things will matter much more to you in the future. Much more, I can tell you, much more important than just your marks and your studies. Marks and studies are important. They form a foundation. But when you work on your soft skills, when you work on all these, on your personality, that is going to have much more benefits for the futures. Again, Olympiads, very important, because that's sort of like if you're able to get a good rank in Olympiad, it really reflects well about your intellectual capabilities also. And Olympiads also is a way of, also like sort of, how do you say, engaging with yourself and trying to, for yourself to push the boundaries and, learn a bit beyond other than what is the set curriculum in the school. So that is the idea behind, engaging in all of these things. Then I would like to again point out a very important thing. Whatever I have talked about, absolutely students at this stage in your life, there is no pressure of decision making. Idea is for you to become aware, explore as much as possible, gather your insights. Gathering insights means understand for yourself, okay, this is who I am, these are the options out there, this is something I like, this is something I don't like, and along the way build your profile. This is not the age for decision making. This is purely the age for exploration. get to know what are all the options out there. That is exactly what I would like you to do. Now, coming to, so we have finished another important section. Now coming to the last part, wherein I want to talk about, okay, what is there in the future and what is it that is going to be around for a long, long time. So, of course, one thing that we know is technology is definitely, it's a part of our, it's been a part of our past, present, and more so that technology is going to be a part of the future. So what am I going to talk about from right now? I just want you to get to know about these words and look them up further on your own. I'm not going to go into detail. I want you to familiarize yourself with these terms, and then uh, you know sort of then build up on that for yourself. Get to know, familiarize yourself with all these words. If you haven't heard of them, look them up in the Google. See if these are the options which are interesting for you. Idea is not to bombard you with so many terms, but so that to make you familiar that there are these things out there. So that's the focus of the next few slides, so keep that in mind. If you want to jot down something, take a pen and paper. If you want to jot down some of these points, you can also do so. So coming to what's in future. So right now we have already, most of you might have heard these terms: artificial intelligence, machine learning, those things are there. Then you have something called as Internet of Things. Internet of Things is, at the press of a button on my mobile phone, the fan is switched on, the AC can run, all the things are connected through the cloud. If you don't know what the cloud is, again, look it up. Then there is something called as data science. What happens when I am connected to all these different devices? I get a lot of data from them. Data is like, there will be like numbers. Maybe, when you visit a website, and you click on something, again, that becomes a web data. Means I will get to know that some user went there, clicked on that thing. So all these data is collected. That's a huge amount of data. It's called big data. And there are data scientists like me out there who sit and who are going to analyze this data and tell the companies that, okay, maybe the users are interested more in clicking on this button. So maybe they are more interested in this product. Okay. And maybe we can, have advertising more of this product or something like that. So that's the idea of data science. Then cyber security. As you know, a lot more transactions, everything internet banking is what, everybody, all your parents must be doing. So the idea of cyber security is because now everything is online. Okay. It becomes open to all the hackers out there, right? So how do we protect our data? All these financial transactions that are happening, we need to protect them. So that's a very important part. So, and all this data which is moving around, again, that needs to be protected. So there are privacy laws, there is cyber security. Now, other than this, let's come to the more interesting part of it, maybe for you, all of you guys, is augmented reality and virtual reality. So the idea of virtual reality, this particular, oculens, this lens that you can wear, and then you sort of immersed into that reality. That is your virtual reality. Augmented reality is maybe that of the future, wherein you might have 3D holograms of people appearing. So instead of doing a Zoom talk, you will look like at a 3-dimensional hologram of me, and as I move around, you can probably move around the entire thing. Okay. And that might be, like they show in all these sci-fi movies. That is actually, it's not a part of our future, it's already in the present, and that's definitely going to be a huge part of our future. So these are the various things. Then the other things, maybe I've heard of these things. So there is something called as the new age transport. We are talking about hyperloop. So look it up. This company called, Tesla, Elon Musk, maybe some of you already are familiar with it. Then space travel, that's going to be the next big thing, because we are talking about colonizing Mars, colonizing moon, setting up people over there. That's another interesting thing. Other thing, smart food. Okay. Because if you know, this year the Nobel Peace Prize was given to which organization? If somebody can answer that to me later on in the Q&A, that would be awesome, because that is something related to food. That's it's one of the burning things today, is that we want to have zero hunger in the entire world. It is one of the sustainable development goals that we have from the United Nations. So, talking about smart food, making food smarter. How do I customize the food with respect to people? Okay, smart health. Customize the medicines suitable only to you. Okay, these are the things of the future. If any of the things I'm talking about interests you, please look these up. Get to know more about these things. Okay. Now, coming to I'll touch upon some traditional MPC careers. Now, a lot of time, what has happened is, as a kid, maybe you have heard of this, MPC. Have you taken MPC? Have you taken BIPC? Earlier, we used to have these strict, stream separations in 11th grade. Okay, this is medical, this is non-medical, then you have commerce, and you have fine arts, right? Now, with the national education policy, the new one, the 2021, these particular distinctions have been removed, and in the future, you could probably take up any combination of subjects in the future. So we are headed towards a multidisciplinary future. But still, at the moment, I also want to tell you, in the traditional setup, what the careers that we have that you could think about, and also the other ones. Definitely, engineering, everybody knows engineering and medical, but beyond that, you also have other careers like architecture. That's very important thing. Building buildings, how to make them more sustainable. Then there's a huge amount of requirement for people in statistics, all these data scientists, all these people who are in machine learning and all that. A lot of them have statistics and maths background. So if you're good with that, that's another thing you can consider. Then industrial design, product design. You have any object in front of you, let's say mobile phone, it's about how the components are to be designed. What is to be the shape of it, what is to be the size of it. So that's your product design. Industrial design is when in the big industries, how the each part would be working with respect to the other. Designing that's again a huge field. Then, other than this, you have the fields of merchant navy, defense, armed forces, right? Maybe you want to become a commercial pilot. All those things actually also require your, these basic knowledge of, it starts off right now with the traditional, how do you say, MPC background. That is your engineering. You're studying for the non-medical part of it. So those are the things that exist right now. For the new age careers, I want to definitely, in the tech, we already talked about this, artificial intelligence specialist, data scientist, you have Internet of Things engineer, cloud. This is a representation. Look it up, what is cloud. Then you have something called blockchain developer, ethical hacker, in case of cyber security. I'm just introducing concepts to you. Idea is, if any of this strikes for you, jot it down, look them up. I'm just introducing these ideas to you out there. Then, sustainability is a very important part of what we are facing right now. That we have had a huge amount of climate change. The average temperature of Earth has increased in the particular last century, especially in the last couple of decades. It's gone up. You have something called as the Paris Agreement, wherein all the countries have come together and they have signed an agreement saying they're going to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. So we are actually consistently trying to make each and every industry, we're trying to make it sustainable. We're trying to protect our environment. We're trying to reduce pollution. So there are also future jobs out there which are focused on these things, which are called sustainability jobs or green jobs. So you can also think about these options, and these could be the new fields which are emerging. These are the new courses which could be coming at engineering level and etc. So you have something called environmental economist, green marketer. There's all this talk about organic foods, okay, marketing green foods. So these are the important things. Then two of the ones I want to mention particularly is a solar wind energy engineer. You might have studied solar and wind energy in your in the science classes. So these are the, again, new jobs which are coming up specifically for that sector. Petroleum is decreasing slowly. It's still around, it's still going to be there around, but the importance of these sustainable jobs is also increasing along the way. Then Coming to the again traditional what is so-called the BIPC careers. BIPC is biological, physics, chemistry, that combination earlier used to take. But like I said, with the NEP, you will have multiple other subjects being open to you in the future. It's going to be slowly introduced at each levels. So maybe by the time 4 years, when when you come to that stage, maybe you have those options in front of you. So I want you to know the traditional ones as well as the non-traditional ones. Now, of course, with the BIPC, people take BIPC to go into medicine to do the MBBS. But becoming a doctor is not the only thing. You have a huge gamut of health services, veterinarian services. Okay, people after studying biology and all also go into agriculture. Then there is a huge stream of forensics, what works along with your crime, the crime scene investigations. We all must have seen CID and all these things. Forensics is again a huge important part of that. DNA fingerprinting. You can learn, you can explore more. Then pharmacy, drug development, drug delivery. We talked about vaccine, making the vaccine for it. Who makes the vaccine? What are the jobs involved in it? If you're interested, do look it up, because vaccinations have become very important part, and we have understood the importance after COVID, about medicines, about you must have heard all these terms in the news, right? So look up about those job options. Then of course research is there. Radiology is like diagnostics, right? The X-ray, the MRI, you must have heard of all these things, but these are all people working behind this, right? So it's good to know what are all the options there, how do they go about with it, what do they have to learn. So if there is something that you're interested in, look things up, talk to people around you. Now, coming to the new age careers, like I said, new age is all about multidisciplinary. So in the future, it's not like I have to do biology only for this and then I forget about the rest. You have new age things wherein you're combining biology and computer science. That is bioinformatics. Okay, biomedical is biology, engineering, instrumentation. Why? Because a radiologist, like when I have to take an X-ray, there is an X-ray machine. I also need to understand how to prepare better diagnostic tools, how to prepare better machines which can tell me everything which is going on in the body, right? All these MRI machines or the CT scan machines. So that comes under the part of biomedical. Then there is a huge part of biotechnology, okay, which is partly to do with genetics. Like how do I make better genetically modified organisms? How do I increase the productivity? You must have read about green revolution and all that, right? We have genetically modified plants and animals, and which are being introduced because we want to decrease have better deal with the food scarcity in the countries. So that all is a part of your biotechnology. Then clinical research, we have already talked about making vaccinations, studying exactly how the virus or the disease is happening, that's pathology. Then you have a field of nanotechnology. Nanotechnology, again, it has people coming from different backgrounds, from physics, from chemistry, from engineering, from computer science. They all come together into nanotechnology. And nanotechnology is about, manipulating like small atoms and all. And, when you're working at the nanometer level, which is a very small, so you have to build like huge microscopes through which you're looking at like very, very minute things, like 1 nanometer in size, or, not 1 nanometer, like a few hundred nanometers in size, and you're able to sometimes pick up like individual atoms and even move them around. So that is what nanotechnology is. There is a huge number of applications for nanotechnology, like especially in defense sector. Like you have this strong, this carbon, very light carbon reinforced how do you say this suits, body suits and all, to protect you from the bullets and all. So all those have the research of nanotechnology and all in there. So there are a lot of defense applications, a lot of aeronautical applications. Nanotechnology is also there in medicine, wherein we want to create like nano robots which we are going to go swim through your blood vessels and deliver the drugs at the right site. So there's a huge amount of things being done. If you're interested in any of these things, I request you to please search for things online, listen to other people, experts in this particular fields, or discuss with your friends and teachers what these fields are. It's important to get to know. Then, continuing with the healthcare part of it, like I said, doctors are not the only ones. You have paramedics, you have people who take care of healthcare management, elder care services, dietitians, exercise instructors. All of these roles and jobs are important for the future. So that's what we have understood very well. Then some of the very generic careers in which people can go after whatever general streams you choose at the moment is like you could become a lawyer, you can go into sales and marketing. Sales and marketing particularly has evolved a lot. It's no more like how it used to be before. Again, sales marketing involves like whether you're able to sell a particular product. So how do you do that? How do you understand what the customer requires? Let's say your mother cooked spinach today, okay, and she wants you to eat it, but of course you don't like spinach. So what is she going to tell you? So she'll be like, if when Popeye ate spinach he gets strong, so that's why you should eat spinach. So what do you do instantly? So because you're like, oh, so that happened, so I'm going to eat spinach too. So that is something called marketing or sales. It's about the story. You understand the product. How do you bring it forth? How do you put it before other people? How do you sell it? So again, that requires a lot of creativity also. Then becoming a civil servant, like if you want to become an administrator, like an IPS or an IAS officer. Okay, then tourism, hotel, hospitality. This is something which has been affected right now because of the COVID presently, but slowly we're getting back to it, right? And this is something which is always going to be there around. Something like teaching again, becoming a teacher. Again, please understand that all of these careers, they require a certain amount of planning and preparation and going in that particular direction. You could also be interested in maybe like doing a BBA, MBA, or a BA, BCom. All of these options are available. Idea is talk to people around you, get to know what each of these things does, and if there is something in particular that you love, explore it further. Entrepreneurship, for example, you might have been hearing so much about entrepreneurship in the last couple of years, and people saying we want to set up our own companies, we have our own startup. So what does it actually mean, setting up a startup? What does an entrepreneur do? Okay, look all of these things up, explore these. For the new age careers, of course, you have, like I said, another interdisciplinary field which is coming up in this generic thing is your fintech, wherein you're combining finance and technology together. Then you have something called cryptocurrency. Again, look it up. It's a new form of currency, right? It's got something to do with blockchain. So what is all that about? Or sometimes you might have heard of, oh, these suited up people, who walk around, who appear, and people are like, oh, that's an investment banker. So maybe you want to look that up. Who is an investment banker? What does he do? What do they do? Then there is something about asset management or like corporate finance. So there are a lot of options in banking and finance sector, and you must have heard of all this economy, how it's running, how it's doing badly, it's picking up. Try and understand all of these things, because these are the general things that's also going to be like for you to explore the other options out there. Then, like I said before, marketing, everything, all the marketing nowadays is done online, right? So you have online marketing, digital marketing, there is social media. You get these advertisements when you're checking your Facebook or when you're checking your Twitter. Okay, all of these also have given rise to a very, very new sort of roles and careers out there, career options out there. Another interesting thing, whenever you see an advertisement, you're able to relate to the jingles, right? Close up, you said ghatuga erega tajaga, you remember all these jingles, correct? So there are people actually who sit in the advertising in the firms who write these jingles. Okay, and these are called like content writers and copywriters who come up with these interesting creative things. And even that entire, how should an advertisement be shot, what should be the message, are we conveying it properly, all of these things are different roles, they are career options to be explored. So if there is something which interests you in all of this, you could also look into those things. Again, education, ed tech, you must have heard of it, you must have heard of Byju's and All these other ed tech firms are there, Vedantu and like Topper and whatnot, all these ed tech things are there. Now, again, behind all these platforms also there are people working. And again, these are all the new jobs which have come up. Also, somebody like a career counselor, life skills counselor, soft skills trainer, these are also interesting things. If you're somebody who wants to help other people, okay, counseling might be a good job. So what sort of counseling? All these are different things to be explored for ourselves. Now, coming to this question. Now, one of the most important careers that I would like to finish off with is this one. So, what do you think connects all of these things? So, can I have some quick answers on the chat? What is the career option or like a stream or something which connects all of these things? So, what do you think it is? Somebody asked me, ma'am, meaning of jingles. Jingles is like this ad, this tagline or something which appears. Uh, you know, um, how do you say jingles? Nike is like, just do it, right? I mean, these are so that's a tagline. Jingle is more like what it appears in the advertisement. Okay, like Nirma, like washing powder Nirma. Oh, very good. So somebody wrote fashion, somebody said designer, somebody said painter or artist. Very good. Lifestyle. Art and design, fashion, automobile, designers. Okay. Fashion, lifestyle. Very good. Hotel management. Okay. Cricketer. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. Okay. All these jobs need creativity. Oh, very good. Tourism, fashion designer, badminton. I don't know where you got badminton. Okay. Designer, biotech, no. I don't think anything connected with biotech. Environmentalist, no. Teacher, music, artist, history research, interior designer, YouTubers. Oh, interesting things that I have got for me. Okay, good. That's good. So I guess most of you, I think, got the idea. So the idea is that I would like to talk to you here about the design field. It's one of the most underrated fields, but where we require this element of design every place. Now, a lot of us are very, very creative people, okay, and we don't realize that it's not the maths and the science which is running the world, but a lot of things actually are being run by the creativity and the design element. Okay, and the design field is huge, and there are loads of opportunities there in design field. The ones which are commonly people talk about are, let's say, the fashion designer, and the interior designer. That's the only commonly known ones, but those are not the only ones. I want you to understand that in the, like I said, it's multidisciplinary. So when you combine technology and design, you have a huge number of, again, career opportunities there. So I talked about it before, right? Product designer. How should my product look like? What should be the specifications? How should be the feature? So this has to be this much length. This has to be this much width. That's a product designer. Automobile designing is again a huge field. How should I design my car to be aerodynamic, and what sort of materials should go in there? So that's again a huge field. Then you have something I want to tell you about, UI UX designer. Now, every time you open an app or a software program in front of you, let's say Zoom today, okay, the UI UX, which is user interface, user experience designer, they're actually separate but used interchangeably. They are the ones who determine how we feel on interacting. So where should this particular icon be placed? What should be the color of this icon? Okay, all of these things at in each and every page. Let's say you're ordering something on Swiggy. Okay, where does the Swiggy logo come? Okay, when you click on select, what are the options, how it appears in front of you? Okay, or in the Zoom call, how should my video look like? What are the options which should come when, let's say, I click on share screen? All these things are determined by the UI UX designer. This is very, very important job, right? Because if the app, even if the app works smoothly, but if the user, that is us, if we are not able to use the app properly, or if we don't understand where things are, or we find it very difficult, we might not use the application at all, right? So this is why, again, this is very, very important. Then another thing which is the web and graphics designer. You must have all heard about it. Web developers, web designers, designing your websites to look very awesome. Now, if you look at the particularly Apple website, the way the things come up, and now you also have augmented reality being integrated in there. All these things, that is what goes into the web designer. Then you also have people who are game designers. So all these online games or online games that you're playing, and these video games that you're playing, these are also, there are designers who are also good in coding and technology, who sit behind it and are going to design each and everything, from the costume to what levels you go through, how each and everything should look like. All of them are done by the designers. So you've understood that it's not only about purely the technology, but it's a combination of technology and creativity. Both of them together makes things powerful. So don't undermine creativity or the design field, is something I'll request to all of you. And if you're somebody who's interested in the design field, right now everybody is talking about design thing. And so these are the things which are also equally, I would say, as important as, let's say, your marks in maths or science, to be the ability to be creative, okay, to be able to use your imagination, okay, to jot things down or to draw certain things. If you are interested in these things, definitely you should explore the field of design. Okay, so that's my idea of presenting design to you. Then, of course, if you are somebody who's very different, so I just picked up these screenshots from the three of the Telugu movies, very popular ones. So here the protagonists all wanted to do something different. So of course this is also there. Other than all these careers that I talked about, there are also something called as offbeat careers. So like, let's say you want to be a stand-up comedian or a blogger or Instagram influencer. If you want to be an audio engineer, filmmaker, whether you want to be a wildlife photographer or a social worker or a translator, all of these jobs are important. And these are the so-called offbeat careers. One word of caution before I end up with this is that many students assume that becoming a YouTuber or a blogger, with these are the hip and the cool things. Yes, but please remember, there is a lot of hard work and preparation which goes behind each and every YouTube video that is made, or a blog that is written, or let's say a stand-up comic set that is performed. There's a lot of amount of hard work. So it's not like a hit and miss thing. In every field that you choose, the idea is you have to be disciplined, you have to be consistent, you have to be open to feedback from other people, and you have to constantly work on your content that you are providing outside. So if you think that, okay, I'll just become this and become very famous, word of caution there, it is not that simple. If you're somebody, whatever career that you might choose, you have to work hard in there, you have to focus on things, you have to be disciplined. So without these essential things, if you're thinking that some careers are easier than the others, it is not so. So that is the crux of anything that you choose. So choose it. These are all the multiple career options out there. Choose it wisely, or at the moment don't choose at all. What I recommend is become aware of everything. Even if you're interested in a particular offbeat career, get to know the pros and the cons of it. Like I said before, you might be looking at only one side of it and say that this is so exciting and these people are so popular, but there is also a con side of it. The amount of hard work they have to put in, the amount of sacrifices somebody has to make, you also need to know those things before you actually make your decision when the time comes. So that is one thing, word of caution from my side. Okay, I just want to then wrap up this entire session for today to talk, because I talked so much about the skills. So these are the important things I want to mention to you today. For a multidisciplinary future, no matter what career option you choose, because now you're made aware of so many career options, the skills are very, very important. What are these skills? Firstly, learning attitude. If somebody tells you 10 tak padlo ho gaya, you're settled, nothing of that sort. 12 tak padlo, settled, nothing of that sort. The idea is learning is a continuous, constant process which happens from the day we are born to the day we finally say goodbye to this world. The idea is we have to develop this learning attitude. Learning is not about like studying something alone. Okay, picking up a new hobby, learning something new, all of these are very, very important. I will like request you that online learning has become a very important part. You might have to take up courses online. You might have to, catch up on new skills. Learning attitude, very, very important. And especially if you want to become a leader, it's important to become aware of the things around you, to learn constantly and to evolve. Which brings me to the second thing, evolution. We need to be able to adapt to everything. So if life throws you lemons, you make lemonade. If life throws you oranges, you make orange juice. That's the idea of adaptability. So because technology is a huge part of our future, and of our present, we know it's here to stay. So the idea is you have to be able to combine technology with your interest and aptitude, and therefore you have to find, that's how, smart way of finding the careers for yourself. So adapting to the things around yourself, very important. Communication, like I said, to be able to talk to people, to express your ideas, to understand what they want to say, everything very important, because we live in a connected world and we are not living in isolation. We have to work together in teams, and these are the important things. See, tomorrow when you go out for a job, if I have two people, one, let's say, is very good in a subject, but he is not able to communicate, right? They're not able to work together in a team, and the other person can communicate in team and is decent in work. So a lot of time companies tend to choose the second person. Why? Because working together with other people is also very, very important. So not just your marks or like how brilliant you are, how well you work with other people also is very, very important in the future. Then, like I said, creativity. If you are creative, doesn't matter where you use it, whether you use it for innovation, whether you use it in your hobbies, whether you apply it to your advertising, let's say, or whether you use creativity to solve the problems that you're encountering. Creativity is an essential skill to have. How do you develop creativity? Like indulge in creative activities like, painting or drawing, or like just thinking about solutions, using your mind, having the presence of mind. Think about like solutions to the easy simple problems that you see around yourself, and all of these things are important. Then, more and more, you will encounter people talking about analytical thinking. How are you able to analyze the problems in front of you? How are you able to bring up, solve the problems also in a very innovative fashion, in a simple way? Okay, and then decision making. How do you decide your future? Okay, not only your future, but even something like, when you're in a company, again, you have to decide whether I should take up this project, not take up this project. It could be something as big as that, or decision making at your level could just be like, okay, these are the optional subjects which are being provided to me, whether I should take it up or not. So all of these are important. Most important, students, I want to emphasize it again, empathy is very, very important, very underrated, very, very important. Empathy is when you are able to understand the troubles or the pain of the person next to you. We are living in a globalized world where we have to work along with everybody. We should be taking everybody together with us, towards development and towards future. Okay, it's not only that you're working or you're going to get satisfaction just thinking about your own success. So empathy, okay, understanding others troubles, helping them out, again, very important skill for the future, and it's a very important skill for a leader particularly to have. That, so these are all the skills for future, and the common thing is basically these are all the human values. So though our present and future is all about technology, it is now more than ever, it's important that we are in touch with the human side of ourselves, and we hold those human values strongly with ourselves. And like I said, next major decision making steps, because you are a school student, you will have to choose your optional subjects, the skill subjects which are going to be provided to you. So I guess your school is going to help you with that. And when you're in class 11th, you might be again choosing your streams and subjects. So these are the, like I talked about before, these are the gradual decision making steps that you see in the world around you. And now, before I get to that, I mean, I don't want to go in depth about that, but the idea is, okay, why is the, in the new education, in the national education policy, did people bring about these optional subjects? The idea I want to emphasize it here and put in the seed right now and say that basically the idea is not to burden you with more subjects, okay, the optional or the skill subjects. The idea is for you to discover and explore your interests. So when you these subjects are presented in front of you, the idea is they will open up new avenues in front of you. We can test out, you can take a subject and say, okay, is this something which I really want to do? Okay, am I really interested in this? Do I have the aptitude for it? Okay, and a lot of these skill subjects or optional subjects are also your languages. Again, I want to specifically talk about this because it's very essential in the globalized world to pick up languages beyond us. So whether even if it is one of the other Indian languages or a foreign language, getting to know more languages, it's always, more opportunities and avenues opened up for you. And if nothing much, if you take up a skill subject, maybe you'll have a hobby that you'll nurture in the future. Let's say you're picking up a Hindustani classical music or a dance or a painting, that's what they're going to help you with. So the idea of skill subjects is with respect to all of this. So please don't see it in a very general sense that, okay, like, they're trying to burden us. The idea is not to burden anybody. The idea is to open up these avenues for you so that you can explore and discover interests, so that when you step into a multidisciplinary future, you are ready for it. Okay, what is happening in each of the subjects, and which ones you're good at and what you want to choose. So that is especially to make you aware and take it as an important opportunity to learn something new. So these are some of the subjects that I've listed out, which the CBSE provides. So you can get to know that better. You can go to the CBSE website, and they have a huge list. So also depends on your school. Your school might provide you with the list of the subjects. Last slide that I want to present you is, if you have not been able to follow the entire things, the most important takeaway that I want to leave you with today is, please focus on your fundamentals. If nothing else, if things are still seem very confusing to you, focus on your fundamentals. Basic maths particularly is very important. I know a lot of students who are scared of maths as a subject. I want to tell them that advanced maths might not be required, but basic maths like mental ability, logical reasoning is something that you have applications well down your future for competitive exams and all that. So that basic level maths up till 10th is very, very important. Please don't ignore that. Okay, meanwhile, just develop interest, explore the different options, talk to the people. These are things that I've told you, lot so many things. Try and explore them one by one. This is not the age for decision making. It's just the age for understanding and becoming aware of more and more things. Along the way, please do work on building your profile like we talked about. And in the end, keep calm and don't worry. Everything is going to fall into place, so don't worry about that. And all the best for the future. Thank you for being so patient, listeners. And if you have any questions for me, I'm open for that. Thank you.
Okay, so that was a great session and I really enjoyed it. I'm sure each one of you would have also got great inputs to shape your future. Now we have an opportunity to ask any question to Dr. Sushi. So please type your questions in the Zoom chat box. I and Suhani will moderate the questions and ask to Dr. Sushi.
In the
Thank
interest
you.
of time, please be brief in your questions and to the point. And we regret in advance in case we are unable to answer your questions due to time constraints. Please bear with us for any convenience. Students or parents, anyone can ask questions in the Zoom chat box.
Okay, so our first question here is, ma'am, there's a lot of competition in various fields. Like for standing example, let's take engineering. There are many students apply, many students excel out, but many are left behind. So, what will your advice be for those students who are left behind?
Okay, so my question, so first things first, okay. The reason that a lot of people apply for engineering is because everybody around them is applying for engineering. So first things that I want all of us students to become aware of the fact is engineering really the thing that we want to do? Okay, because a lot of students choose engineering because they've heard it from the peers around, or because of the influence of the family, or because they assume that it is going to give you a career which is stable. Okay, so I would like to all of you to take a step back, that before you choose engineering, I would like you to understand what is your motivation for choosing engineering. That's the first thing. If your motivations are in place, if you have both the interest and the aptitude for engineering. Secondly, like I said here, somebody is mentioning that only few students, look, small percentage, let's say 10% of the students get through the coveted, the best of the engineering colleges out there, or let's say 1% get through. The idea is that getting into a good college, yes, it provides you a platform, correct? When you get into IIT or let's say BITS, it does provide you a platform, but building on that platform is, again, the onus is on you. So if you yourself do not take the initiative to build something, leverage the opportunity that you have of studying in an esteemed university, then you will, you cannot be, sort of like leading up to success. There are a lot of people who come from like best of the engineering colleges out there, or who have studied abroad, who we may not deem to be successful, like in the general, the way that we are judging people to be successful or not. Again, third things, success is something, I would say again, students, that success is something that we have, the parameters are determined by we ourselves. So what society deems to be successful might not be what we deem to be successful. The idea is, at the end of the day, if you're doing what gives you satisfaction, you're doing what gives you happiness, and you're able to live a decent life, I think that is something that you could say is successful for you. If you're somebody who says that no, that is not success for me, if I want to be at a particular position, then you will have to mold your methods in order to reach that. So, whatever your goal is set, you will have to work accordingly for it. So, what you need to understand is, again, do we have the right interest and aptitude for it? Am I acquiring the right skills in order to reach my goal? Okay, and am I working step by step properly towards my goal? And always remember that even if you face, let's say, a setback, you think that okay, getting into this college is what my goal is, and you're not able to do that, always remember you can still do something at the next stage to go towards your goal. So the idea is, your goal actually is not getting into the particular college. Your goal would be something higher, something different. So even if you're not able to face a small obstacle on the way, you will still be able to divert yourself towards that thing. Okay, right now, also this in this way, it's very important to be aware of the options around. So a lot of children, a lot of students, what they do is they have a very limited mindset. They feel that if I don't get this, then heavens will fall. Nothing of that sort. So that's the reason that why I would encourage you to talk to the people around, go for career counseling, because there are loads of options out there, and even if one thing doesn't work out, you will find another option which is aligned to your interests and aptitude, and it's not like a failure. It's not, don't consider that as a failure. So there are always all these options out there. So that is what I would like you to think about. Okay, yeah.
Ma'am, we have got another question over here from Moksha. So she is like, there are a lot of online classes which are happening. We have got assignments, we have got notes. So she is like, she doesn't have enough time for unwinding. So what can we do for that?
Okay. So I want to say that okay, online classes start at 9, they end at 1. Yes, and then we have many things to do, like writing notes, okay, self-study homeworks, completing assignments. So Moksha, I would just like to say to you this thing, that even when you're having all these things, you have to take a step back and evaluate that what is it that is taking most of your time. Okay, is it like the note making part of it? Can I improve it, make it faster? Okay, what is it that is so time consuming for you in all these steps? Is it like, dealing with your assignments? Is it like your note making? So one thing that I've observed in a lot of students is that they try and ensure that everything is perfect. Okay, like everything is absolutely perfect. It has to be absolutely neat and clean. Now that's one of the dangers of perfection, is when you try to make everything perfect, you require a lot more time. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, if you're continuously, constantly working throughout the day without taking a break, your productivity will be affected, Moksha. So, what I suggest is, even after the class, when you're working, you have a technique called Pomodoro technique, wherein like you work for 20 minutes with extreme focus, and then you take a 5 minutes break or 10 minutes break, and then you work with extreme focus. So, in this way, the task that you would like to do will get finished faster, because you are working in short bursts. It's called bursts, short bursts of good amount of focus. So that is a better way than sitting there and like trying to continuously work for hours and hours. Another thing, this is why a lot of students assume that if I finish this task, until then I should not take a break. What I suggest is, when you're studying, you have to get used to taking breaks in between. Like, set for yourself 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then I take a break for 5 minutes. When you take the break, walk around your room, just open a window or step out into the balcony, breathe some fresh air. Okay, do some deep breathing. That itself will give you a good amount of time to unwind. And try to prioritize, like I said, try to plan ahead, which is more important, which is task is less important. Okay, and organize. So if you plan your day ahead, probably you will be able to get more things done, and you will also find enough time to unwind yourself. So these are the some of the tips and tricks I can suggest to you, Moksha.
So, ma'am, we have one more question over here. We all suffer that first anxiety in speaking in the public for the public speaking competitions. So, how do we deal with the problem of stage fear?
Okay. Now, again, let's get to the root of the problem. So, when we are on stage, what is it that we are scared of? What are you scared of, Jasmine? Tell me.
Okay, so whenever I go to stage, I think there are lots of many people who will see me, and if I don't speak correctly or more precisely, they're gonna judge me, of course. So I guess
Okay.
that judgment is a thing that triggers a sense of fear in me.
Yes. So, firstly, we are very afraid. So, a lot of time, our low self esteem or low confidence is because we are very concerned and scared as to how the other person is going to think about us. Okay. So, the step one to remove stage fear, stop worrying about what other people think. Okay. That's a step one. Easier said than done, yes, but we all have to understand that, every person out there, actually, we are not the only people. As you said, Jasmine, that, a lot of people out there, they face, stage fear. You can talk to people in your family, you can talk to people in your among your friends circle, and they would agree with you and say that yes, we do feel that stage fear. Now imagine one thing, this is something that we all are scared of. Okay, then does it make sense? Is this fear logical? Like when everybody is scared that the other person is going to judge you, does it make sense to us? Is this logical, or is this like some sort of illogical fear in all of us? Secondly, imagine your friend is up there, they are trying to speak, but they falter. What will you do? Will you laugh at them? Will you laugh at them and later on, try to reconcile and say, nothing happens, it's okay? Or will you be like very defensive and say that, no, no, I should not laugh at the other person? Again, a lot of times we have stage fear because maybe we are among those people who are going to laugh at other people. So again, that's a self correction. So we need to change that about ourselves. When we develop empathy, automatically a certain sense of confidence comes inside us, and we are like, I empathize with the other person, and I'm not going to do that, and I have the confidence that the other person won't do the same. Okay, that's again something to be developed. And lastly, that's the thing about stage fear. You are fearful as long as you're giving the how do you say, the importance, or you're keeping that importance with other people. So don't worry about what other people think. People think about a lot many things, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, even if they laugh at you, they won't. They will very soon forget about the entire incident. So nobody is going to remember it. So the thing is, we play these things in our head and we magnify them. We make them huge. Okay, we think that people laughed, and as you see in the movies, we're going to zoom in on their laughter, and you say, oh, this person laughed and that person laughed, and we're going to remember. But how long will we remember? Because when tomorrow comes, there are a lot many other things, right? Every new day brings with it different news, different happenings. Who is going to remember? And I'm really telling you this, that people's attention spans are very, very small, very, very small, very tiny attention spans that we have. So don't worry so much about that. What you should do, practice in front of the mirror. Okay. And secondly, every time you have fear of stage, practice in front of the mirror. Secondly, work on your communication. Often you are scared of communicating because you think you'll forget the words. You will forget the words only when you don't understand things. So if you understand clearly what you want to say, and you know exactly how to say it, you are going to say it, and it's a very natural process. And a lot of times it just comes with practice. Okay, I hope that helps.
Ma'am, we have
I have
another
a question.
question.
Yeah.
So, one student over here is asking whether hotel management is a good career or not.
See, again, no career is good or bad. It's good depending on what your aptitude and interests are. So, hotel management is again a huge field. So, what exactly would you like to work in it? Is it the right field for you? Do you have the proper interest and aptitude for it? Again, in the context of COVID, like, is it going to be still around? Is the hotel management going to be around in the form that is existing right now? Is it going to change? Maybe new roles come up with respect to hotel management. You have to think about all these things. So instead of saying that if a career is right or wrong, the question should always be, is it the right thing for me or not? So I would like you to think in those terms. Okay, career is never right or wrong. So it's always with respect to you. If it aligns with your interest, if it aligns with your aptitude, if you're good at it, and if that's exactly what you want for yourself, then I will say yes, it is. But think about also the future ramifications, future of that particular field. So those are the things I would like you to think about. Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
So, ma'am, I really want to have my own startup. And
Mm-hmm.
is it the only way that I can go with MBA or IIT to have a startup? And I also have a question that my parents or many of my family members say that in India there's not a good college as you find in Australia or in Germany for the
Mm-hmm.
MBA colleges. So,
Okay.
like, which college can I like prefer out with this?
Okay. Now, which grade are you in right now?
Ninth, ma'am.
Ninth grade. Okay. So one thing I'll tell you is that okay. So first things first. Sorry, I forgot your name, Mama. What's your name?
Suggestion.
Yeah, Sai. Right. Sorry, I can't see your name actually. Huh. Hello. Sai,
Yes,
hello.
ma'am.
Hi, yeah. So, Sai, I want you to think about one thing. So, if it is entrepreneurship that you want to become an entrepreneur. So, let me help you understand this. What is entrepreneurship? So, I want to talk about that. Entrepreneurship is basically you are setting up your own company. Okay. Entrepreneurship in simple sense could also be the thela wala, which is right outside, the street hawker that we call. That's also who is also an entrepreneur. Okay. Somebody who's selling chai or like pakoras on the roadside is also an entrepreneur. I want us to understand that very, very well. Okay. Entrepreneurship means setting up your own firm, and you're not working for somebody or under somebody, but you are setting up your own firm. So when you say, I want to become an entrepreneur, my first question is why? And secondly, what do you want to set up? Okay,
Uh,
so setting up part is not the question, but I want to understand your motivation behind saying I want to become an entrepreneur. So, what is it that you're imagining that you're going to achieve as an entrepreneur?
First of all, success, and I want to change the world, the ideology of the world. I want to change,
Okay.
and basically, I don't want to work under someone which I feel a lot of pressure for me,
Mm-hmm.
but and see, I also have that the same pressure should not be felt by my employees too,
Okay.
and
So, Sai, tell me one thing. How did you figure out that you don't want to work with anybody? Have you ever worked under anybody?
No, ma'am. Like in our school, whenever we do a team work, like I feel a lot of pressure. And even when I see my family members, there's some people that who are working as an
Mm-hmm.
employee, I see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of pressure my father takes during night, and he takes calls whenever he wants.
Sure,
So I
but do
don't.
you think as a startup, let's say you're a startup director or a CEO, you think you won't have pressures?
There's a risk and there's a pressure out there. Like when my
No,
company.
actually, yeah. So here I want to really address this for most of the students. We might imagine that being a startup, starting a startup, and being in taking an entrepreneurial journey is like very exciting because you don't have to work under anybody. But understand that with great power comes great responsibility, right? As a startup owner, as an entrepreneur, you are not just responsible for yourself, you're also responsible for all the employees that who are working under you. You're responsible for their health, responsible for their productivity, you're responsible for your company, which means, let's say if you have 10 employees under you, you have 10 times the stress on your head as compared to what a single employee has from his boss. So even though you may be the boss, but you still have 10 times the stress. You have to ensure that the work happens smoothly. You have to be expert in management, project management, people management. Okay. If you're telling me that you're somebody who doesn't really work well with others, I'm sorry to give you the news side. Then maybe entrepreneurship is not the thing for you. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, you have to meet up with people. You have to work with your team. You have to lead your team. Okay. Being a leader does not mean you don't have to listen to other people. Being the leader means you have to listen to feedback. Okay. You have to make decisions, which is a lot more difficult than just taking, like listening to step one, step two, step three, finishing it off is much more easier than doing all these things. Okay, so Sai, the thing is, the concept, in all our heads, it seems very nice and very interesting. But that's why I said you should try out job shadowing before you make up your mind that entrepreneurship is what you want to do. Before worrying about, which particular college to go to, what MBA to do, first of all, let's come back to the basics. Have we understood what is entrepreneurship? Am I taking my decision because I saw only the good side of it? Yes, it seems to be the case here, right? Have
Yes,
I
ma'am.
looked at the cons of it before deciding? Okay, I haven't done that here, right? If I can say that side, have you looked at the bad side of it, the dark side of it, the cons of it? No, we haven't, right? Have you spoken to or followed a person in their daily life as an entrepreneur? Okay, looked at what are the different sort of things they have to do, the amount of stress that they need to take. Okay, an amount of engagements they have, the amount of management that they need to do. Okay, the amount of communication that they need to have, and then decide if that is exactly what you want to do. Secondly, entrepreneurship is a very regular thing which you can do and become at any stage of your life. You don't have to really be doing an MBA. If MBA is not a, how do you say, it's not a basic cutoff for becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, most of the top entrepreneurs right now, the startups right now, many of them don't have MBAs right now. Okay, so MBA just is a skill set or it's a degree that you're acquiring. Like I said, it's just the education part of it. When you do an MBA, it provides you access to network. It's like a platform. What you do with that platform again depends on you. But again, if you are somebody who doesn't work with people, who doesn't know how to network, even if I give you a platform, how do you use it? So if you really want to be an entrepreneur, I would start off working on those skills which are required to become an entrepreneur instead of worrying about so much about the universities right now. Okay, Sai, did you understand the way to approach it? Correct?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
hope
Yes,
I
ma'am.
hope that's more clearer, right? So don't think so
Yes, ma'am.
much of in the future. Start with basic things. Bring build up your foundation and fundamentals and gain clarity. Sai, what I want all of you students to have is clarity. Why do I want the question is, if you say engineering is what I want to do, I want you to question why, which engineering, which entrepreneur, what type of startup. Have you thought about all these things? Write it down. That's what I request you. Write it down, journal it, jot it down, think more about it. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but I'm giving you the way to do it. Okay, I hope that's helpful, Sai. All the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I think
Ma'am,
in the interest of the time, Jasmine, we can close the session. It's already 6:30. Yeah.
yes, sir. So we have come to an end of this wonderful session. So it is time to say bye-bye. But before that, we would like to thank everyone who have made this program possible.
I now request Ashita to present the vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you for that. Dear friends, I hope you all enjoyed the seminar and got great inputs for building your career powerfully. I take this opportunity to thank one and all who made this seminar possible. Firstly, the speaker, Dr. Sushi Madira, who has given us time despite her busy schedule. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. And our special thanks to Dr. GSS Prakash for introducing her to us. And our special thanks to members of Rotary Club of Secunderabad West and Intra Club of Sister Nivedita School. We thank the principal and management of all schools which have participated, especially Mrs. Lalita Kumari from Sister Nivedita School. And thanks to Rotarian Harihara Prasad sir for all the support. I have to specially mention about the Interact students who have taken up conducting this seminar in a short notice. Jasmine, Suhani, Jashwant, and myself, Ashrita. Great job, team, and big thanks to you all. Last but not the least, a big thanks to all our wonderful participants, and we appreciate your support in making this session very interactive and successful. All the very best to all of you, and wish you a very happy New Year 2021.
Okay, friends, bye-bye, and we look forward for more such sessions with the help of Rotary and Interact Club.
Have a great evening and best wishes for a Happy New Year 2021 and a super future.
Thank you. Wonderful job.
Thank you, Anil sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sushi, for wonderful session. We look forward for many more. Well done, children. Very good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good job. Good
Thank
job.
you, ma'am.
We have Ishwar, who is showed a placard showing chat is disabled. Let us hear from him what he wants to know. We'll give him a minute. If you're all okay. Yes,
Okay.
Ishwar.
Thank you so much, sir. I want to actually ask a question and
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hani Mukherjee Akka told that please post your question in a chat. So I showed her this, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
I want to know that if according to me, I think that if we choose a career, if we failed, sir, other doors should be open, sir. Then, like that, what are there? I want to notice, sir.
What is that? Can you repeat it once again, ma?
As teacher, if we failed means if we chosen a career teacher and if we failed to make it and if there is no choice teacher in our life to do anything then others means
Yeah, got the question. So
See,
if
nothing is impossible to willing heart. Even if you fail, you can get up and run again. No issue at all. But no, that is the reason why we are arranging career counseling sessions to choose the best before, and even if you even after choosing the best, if something happens, Again, we can try. There is no issue at all.
Ishwar, I want to add one point to you.
Okay,
You're from Hyderabad, right?
Yes, sir.
You know iTech City?
Yes, sir.
So what companies you have in iTech City? What companies are there in high-tech city?
I don't know, sir.
IT companies, right? Software companies. You know what is a software company?
Yes, sir, I know, sir.
So most of the, have you ever been to high-tech city? Madhapur, high-tech city, Gachibowli?
No, sir.
Okay, you visit there. There are a lot of companies, all are IT companies. Okay, information technology. You know what is IT? You know what is a software?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what is a computer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So people think that in IT company only computer people are working, engineers are working, but that's not true. 60% of people working in IT companies are non-engineers. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So we have people from finance, we have people from economics, law, everybody working in the IT, BTech, BCom, BSc, everybody working in the IT software company. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you're asking what will happen if you fail? Assume you do law. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You fail as a lawyer. You take up marketing. You fail as a marketing guy. You take up digital marketing if you're good in computers. So you have to just keep moving on. It's not that you fail and you get stuck there. Okay. And today the reason why I told you about IT companies is no job is saying only if you do this I'll appoint you. There is nothing like that. Okay. Anybody can do any job only if you have the interest and the skill. And for information, every course is available online today. With online, you can learn anything: cloud, artificial intelligence, anything. There are courses like Coursera, edX. You heard about Harvard, Stanford, London Business Schools.
Yes, sir.
All these courses can be done by anybody sitting at home online. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So anywhere you fail, you learn new skill whichever you're interested and get into it. So today the world is so open. It's not like what it was 20 years back. What you studied, you have to do only that job. It's not like that. It's so easy to quickly switch careers. You can keep on switching careers just like that. In 6 months, I can get a new job, new field, new technology. The only thing you need is you should have the interest to learn. You should have the interest to quickly adopt to the new situation. So if you are a dynamic person, learning things quickly, grasping concepts quickly, nothing can stop you. There is nothing called failure. It's a new trial. Okay.
Age also matters, no, sir. If our age is over, means learning age is over, what should we do, sir, then?
Currently, I'm doing a program from IIM on artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay. I am doing a new program. It's a executive education program, but I'm doing an online program from IIM Kolkata. So do you think age is a problem?
No, sir.
AIML is a new concept which has come in. I work in cloud technology, but I want to learn AIML. Now I joined in September. It's going on until March. So is the age problem for learning? There is nothing called age learning and all. It's all in our mind. It's all our mindset.
Okay, sir.
And today, unless you have to learn until you die, because that's the situation. Every day things are changing rapidly. You should be open for learning new things. Quickly adopt to new things. Yeah, that's what Sushi was also emphasizing.
Okay, sir.
There is no age for learning. Please understand that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I think we are good to close this program. Thank you all for joining. And I think we have to appreciate
Thank
all
you, sir.
of
Thank
you.
you so much.
Suhani, Ashrita, Jasmine, and Sai did a fantastic job. Really a great job. They are conducting it like grown-up professionals.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to conduct the program and all
It's
the
pleasure,
support
sir. It's pleasure.
from your faculty who have worked so hard to bring in the students and the parents who have supported the children to join. So we look forward for more sessions. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll close the Zoom meeting now. Bye.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year in advance, sir.
Yeah, Happy New Year to all of you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.